All right, the ban list just dropped, so I just got to change a couple of ratios in here. Actually, no, I don't. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cards and Coffee. Today, we're going to be digging into what I think is going to be one of the best decks going into this format, the Runick Live Twin Sprite deck. Even though we just had a ban list, this deck lost nothing, and the fact that all the other decks just got weakened makes it to where this deck is definitely going to be one of the top contenders. But first, before we jump into all that, please go grab yourself a cup of coffee or something. That way you guys can sit down and tune in. Let's do this. Alright, so as mentioned, this deck didn't get hit on the list whatsoever. There were a couple of cards the deck plays that ended up on the semi-limited list, but with what this deck plays, it didn't change anything. The fact that Kashtira can no longer zone lock you and you only have to deal with one Arise Heart really makes it to where this deck can thrive. Plus the fact that you no longer have to play 10 plus hand traps to stop the super heavy Samurai deck really makes it to where now there's no downside to playing the Runick engine. So without wasting any more time, hopping into our live twin package, we are playing 3 copies of Lilla, 2 copies of Kiss a Kill, 1 copy of Kiss a Kill Frost, and I'm only playing 1 live twin Sunny Snitch. I think this is the bare minimum you should be playing in this deck. I would love to play more Sunny Snitch, but I feel like even though I don't agree with Droll and Lock being in the main deck this format, in the early iterations of this meta, I definitely expect people to still be trying to main deck it. In time, we'll see if Droll and Lock actually moves to the side deck, but until then, I'm only opting to play the 1 tanky to search my live twins and play more of the Kiss a Kill. That way I can just draw them without having to play into Droll and Lockbird. Now, if you were playing live twin Sprite with no Runicks, I definitely think you need to increase the name count in this deck, but the fact that we play the Runick engine makes it to where as long as we get access to the Runicks and the Sprites, or just a way to get multiple level 2s on the field, now we don't have to technically open the live twin package to get access to the combo, because now all we have to do is use Sprint to dump one of the names, and then of course Gigantic Sprite can bring out the other, and then we can do our full combo from there. It's pretty easy. Now, speaking of the Sprites, I'm actually opting to play a relatively small package. I'm on 3 copies of blue, 1 jet, 1 red, 1 carrot, and only 1 starter, even though it's semi-limited. This package really is bare bones, but the reason you max out on blue is because it's the best one to draw. I really would love to play multiple jets, but since we're only playing the 1 starter, it could be a dead draw in the mid to late game. Red and carrot are obviously staple and part of your ending board. 9 times out of 10, you get carrot, and then in addition, if you open good enough, you can also have the red end as well. But really, the Sprites are just here as extenders, helping you push through hand traps or even break boards. And like I mentioned with red and carrot, it just adds another layer to your end board, putting this deck to, well, top tier potential. So that's about it for our little level 2 package. Now moving on to the Runicks. Now there's nothing too fancy about it. Of course, we're playing 3 Tip, 3 Flashing Fire, 3 Freezing Curses, 3 Runick Destruction, 3 Runick Slumber, and 1 Dispelling, alongside, of course, the semi-limited Fountain. Since we're playing multiple engines in this deck, we were going to be playing 2 Fountain regardless, so I think it's pretty hilarious that even after the limits on this deck, it changed nothing ratio-wise. But like I mentioned in other videos, I don't really feel like right now this format's going to be a heavy hand trap format. I definitely think there are some hand traps worth maining going forward, but right now it just feels like more of a board breaker kind of format, or at least a little more engine reliant in helping play through whatever boards decks are making right now. If you happen to watch one of my more recent videos about what decks I expect to have great success at the start of this format, you'll know that I believe that this is going to be a very diverse format going forward. So the one thing that's really beautiful about the Runick package is there's a little bit of everything for any situation you might run into. Whether there's a problematic monster that needs outing or a floodgate that needs to get destroyed, the Runick engine has so many answers for so many different things that could show up in this diverse meta, and the fact that this engine gives you level 2s to combo with your Sprites and your live twins really pushes this deck over the top, not only giving you a bunch of combo pieces, but so much utility to break boards that you might run into. So that's it really for the core of the engines. Now moving on to the non-engine and supporting tech cards that I'm playing, I am opting to play one hand trap in the main, and that is 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. I really expect out the gate for Branded and Labyrinth to be very popular and highly represented. Ash Blossom is obviously a branded fusion killer, but it also stops the welcome traps and preventing the boss monsters from hitting the field. Oh, and plus Ash just generically hits everything, so I don't see a reason not to be playing it right now. Now after Ash, I'm also opting to run 2 copies of Kurikara. This is just one of the best removal monsters in the game. You could be running cards like Nibiru, or you can even main deck Kaijus, but I feel like this is just the most versatile version of those kinds of cards. The main reason I'm opting to not run 3 is because this deck does draw a lot of cards, so you don't really want to draw multiples. And even though this is a hard going second card, if you open it, you can always pitch it with your Hugin to search your field spell, so it's never really dead in that regard. But after Kurikara, there's another card that I've been testing that I've really been liking, except against Kashtira. In case you haven't figured it out, I'm talking about 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet. Arise Heart has really made people forget how powerful Forbidden Droplet is, and the fact that this also has the synergy by being able to chain it to the activation of your own quick play spells and using it as free fodder to negate something. You can also combo it with your live twins, using something like Lilla to summon a Kiss a Kill from deck, chaining the Droplet and sending the Lilla. This will negate a monster for free, and then your board will be empty, so when the Kiss a Kill hits the field, now that effect can activate, summoning another Lilla from your deck. You'll get to negate something for free and then go full combo after that. Forbidden Droplet is an amazing card in this deck. Now really quick before moving on from Droplet, Arise Heart is going to be in the meta. I really don't expect that deck to be one of the best decks of the format, but the cards in the main deck are so amazing. Fenrir, Unicorn, they're all great cards, and Arise Heart is still a Macrocosmos, be it at 1. But like I mentioned, the fact that Diablosis is now gone and you're not going to get zone locked, preparing for that deck, be it in the main or the side, is going to be so much easier. And once you out the one Arise Heart, it's going to be so much easier to get ahead and not have to worry about a second one coming back. And then moving on for the last card in the main, I'm playing 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talents. I would love to play multiples, but again, this deck does draw a lot of cards. I don't know how many hand traps are going to end up in people's main, especially early in this format, so I don't know how good it's going to be going first, but Talents is one of the strongest cards in the game, and it's personally one of my favorites, so I definitely think it should be included in this deck, whether it's at 1, 2, or heck yeah, I guess you could even test 3. So that's it for the main deck, a solid 40 cards, but before we move to the extra deck, if you guys are looking to help the channel grow, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, and make sure you comment down below whether you want to see a specific deck profile or maybe some combo videos I can make for you guys in the future as well. Plus, not only that, you can click the link down below to Next Level Anime. They're the guys that make the gear I wear now and what I wear at events. They have a bunch of different anime gear for you to choose from, be it hats, shirts, or hoodies. They're already super affordable, but if you use my code Cards&Coffee10, you'll save an additional 10%, not only keeping money in your pocket, but a portion comes back to the channel, helping me make content for you. But now moving on to the extra deck, of course for the Runick stuff, we have 2 Hugin and we have 1 Jerry. You could also opt to run the level 3, the Wings, the one that gains life points, that way you have another way to win in time. But personally for me, I'm currently siding it just to save space on some of the tech cards I want to play. Now again, this really isn't a Sprite deck, it's more teched out with Sprite cards, so for that reason we're only playing 1 gigantic Sprite and 1 Sprint. If you happen to only open Sprite cards or Runick cards, they help get you into your live twins with these cards. Again, it's not really the point of the deck to really be relying on the Sprite cards, but it really just helps push your first turn combo through while playing through whatever it is your opponent might be throwing at you. But now moving on to the bread and butter of the deck, we have 2 Kiss a Kill and 2 Lilla. This really is the power, the grind, the utility of the deck. Being able to constantly revive these to pop cards and draw cards really gives this deck the grind game it misses without having Elf. These cards alone can generate a lot of advantage, but when you combine them with the other 2 engines, it's really over the top. But of course, before we move on from the Evil Twins, we are obviously playing the Trouble Sunny as well. You normally don't make this turn 1 because you do get Starter or Gigantic Sprite locked, but this is one of the best cards after turn 1. Not only does it put immense pressure on your opponent to deal with, but it generates so much advantage while also setting up potentials for OTKs. But I will say one of my favorite parts of this deck is the fact that even though we don't have Elf, we have Muckraker from the Underworld. There are going to be games your opponent is able to play through your board, and you're not always going to have another live twin to follow up on the turn after. But now with Muckraker, it just makes it to where any 2 effect monsters you can get on the field can bring back either of the Evil Twins from your graveyard and basically go into the combo without your live twins. So that's it for the extra deck monsters that are engine, but moving on to the utility slots, first of course is going to be 1 IP Masquerena, definitely part of your first turn combo. Not only does this card set up cool interruptions with something like Nightmare Unicorn, but it also doubles by getting your Evil Twins off the field, making it to where now you can bring one back to pop a card or draw a card on your opponent's turn. But not only that, we also play a couple more Link 4s, first being the Abomination, an amazing Link 4 that not only is really great to go into off of Masquerena, but it synergizes with the popping in your Evil Twins and your Runick cards as well. Basically, at the end of the turn, this card will destroy a card on the field, but But the amazing part is anytime another card is destroyed, you can destroy a second card. So whether you're using one of your Evil Twins or a Runick to destroy one of your opponent's cards, the Abomination will step in and pop a second card for free, really adding another layer to the synergy that this deck has. And then of course for the final card in the extra deck, the one Nightmare Griffin, the Floodgate we go into first turn, making it to where you have no monster effects your opponent can use, and then of course having a spell and trap negate that you'll have with Carrot, and then of course a pop with your Evil Twins as well, just as the bare minimum board this deck usually makes. Obviously your opponent can have something like Dark Ruler no more, but we will prepare for that in the side. But test it out yourself, because not only does this deck generate a lot of free advantage, but it puts up one of the most unfair boards in the game right now. So that's going to wrap things up for today's deck profile. Thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate all the support you guys have been giving to the channel. Again, if you want to help out, make sure you subscribe, like the video, maybe go check out Next Level Anime and go find yourself something nice. But with all that being said, thanks again for tuning in, and here's hoping to see you guys on the next video. Peace.